Hey YouTube, it's a beautiful Sunday and my wife is out of town, and so I've been left to my own devices. So I've been doing some running around today. I went down to the old car swap meet for the second day in a row and didn't buy a thing, but I did make a phone call. I've all along had a desire to own a certain engine that I have no use for, and it's something that I was exposed to when I was a lot younger. I had a mentor that had an old Ford truck with a camper on it, and it had a 351 Cleveland in it. And it was a bit of a beast. I mean, it was a very strong engine, and I was always super impressed with it. And the exhaust sounded amazing. And I've always wanted one, even though they were only made for about 4 or 5 years in the early 70s. And and only for a couple of those years were they any good. They hit midway through their life. We had that gas crisis, and so compression ratios dropped, and the horsepower was lost from them. But the early models are good ones to have, and I decided to go out and look at one that was for sale down in a town about, I don't know, maybe 80 miles from here. And I decided to go drive down and look at it, and I met this really cool guy, and we looked at a lot of cars and a lot of cool stuff. But I did end up picking up an engine from him, 351 Cleveland, and so I'm going to just show that to you now. So this is it, and while I was there, I spotted these slotted mags. They're 4-lug slotted mags, and I just finished, kind of working on this car and getting tires mounted on it. But I didn't have them balanced, and I only paid to have them to get new valve stems on these wheels. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to see what those look like on here. So I'm going to play with that, and then I'll just save the old wheels for something else. And if I stayed with these wheels, then I probably wouldn't do a V8 swap on that car. I would probably leave it as a 6. But back to the main point of going down there. So this is a 351, supposed to be a 351 Cleveland, and I've got to do some more research on it. But one of the ways that you're supposed to be able to tell is that the water outlet comes out of the block instead of out of the intake manifold. And so I believe that's what's going on there. Clearly it's been sitting outside for a while. It was sitting upright for a while, and so I'm expecting that it's going to require a full rebuild. Now, the interesting thing about these is that they do have the bolt pattern is the same as it is for the small block Ford 302. So you can bolt any transmission to it that you can put to a 302. They're bigger and wider. They're still not considered they're a small block, not a big block. This one is missing the manifold on one side, the exhaust manifold. But I guess that means probably that I have to do something like headers or something like that. And right now I'm going to go ahead and get it on. I have a little stand for the engine, and I think I'll put it on that and then do some more investigation. But we are, on the other side, we're missing spark plugs, so that's not good. You can see here that we don't have any spark plugs in those holes. So I've got to look in there and see what's going on. These are supposed to have a little bit higher compression ratio. When I look at the date on this, I see it's a D1 AE, so at least this intake is probably from a 1971. It could be from a later model as well, but I wasn't able to find a block marking so far, but I'm gonna keep looking and see what I can find. It's probably not wise to get underneath it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Oh, there we go. Oh, let's see, I can't quite see that. I'm not sure what year this is. I'll have to do more research, but there will be something that tells me. The internet is a wonderful thing in that regard. So I just wanted to share that with you. Oh yeah, I don't know if I showed you. Actually, I did pick up some more stuff. I have no use for this either, but I picked it up for $15 at the swap meet, and it's off of supposedly some kind of a newer Mustang. But the reason I like it is because it has an X pipe on it, and I don't know, maybe one day if I do go to dual exhaust, I'll be able to use it to blend the two exhausts. It's supposed to do something for torque. And then I picked up a couple of seats at the old car swap meet on day one when I went. I tried putting some of the seats I have in this Ranchero, and they were too low, and so these look like they had a little bit more altitude to them. So I went ahead and didn't install, but I just set it in there. And so you can see that when you sit in it, it's almost the perfect height. What you do lose is a little bit of leg room, so for the tall guys, they may not be able to sit in here, but this car is being fixed for short guys, so So those are two things that I picked up: the seats and the exhaust pipe.
Curiosity's killing me, and I've got to get a look inside these cylinders to see what I can find. I've got a little camera that I picked up. It's a little fiber optic thing that hooks to my phone that allows me to look inside the cylinders. And so I'm going to go ahead and take a look inside of there. It just takes a minute to set up, and then I'll hopefully show you what I saw as I looked inside these cylinders.
That one looks nice and clean. Oh, that's a pretty piston. That one has a little bit of rust in it. Not too much. I can't see. Ah. That one must be a top. That's the top of the piston. I can't even get it in there. So it comes all the way to the very top. Wow. Okay, so there was one that I'm concerned about. It's on this side. And it's the last one. It was open to the elements. Let me just see this. And you can see there's some rust along the edges, some scale. I'm going to soak it in something and see if I can get it freed up. That one is bad. And then I think that there's another one that's maybe this one. Now that one looks good. Oh, that piston's at the top there. That one may not be. I mean, if it's at the top, it's probably all right. And then this one. Let me see what I can see. Oh yeah, it looks good. I can see the walls there. All right, good enough. So there's hope for this thing. We'll have to just see what it does.
In typical fashion, I couldn't find the Marvel Mystery Oil, and so I had a can of Deep Creep that I'd broken the nozzle on. And so I made a little bit of a mess, but I ran some of that down in the cylinder. That should be pretty thin and should get into all the crevices. That'll help me out. Later on, I'll apply some motor oil to this. Now it's time to go ahead and try to get it unstuck, so I'm hoping that it really does, will turn for me. Our first effort here, we're not making much progress. I'm going to use a little bit of force on this.
Oh yeah, that's a good sign.
By reversing rotation and going back and forth, if I can get any movement at all, I'll get started with that.
Let's put some oil in it.
It's time to put some oil in the cylinders and see if we can lubricate it a little more.
I better get a pin. think that's enough for now. I think I'm going to be able to get it to go all the way around. Where are you at? I think I'm going to be able to get it to go all the way around. I just have to continue to work on it and let it soak and loosen it up. And
After some off-camera work, I was able to get the engine completely freed up, and so I do have a fully functioning engine, and the more that I turn it over, the more that the cylinders will get cleaned out inside. Don't know what my next steps are. I guess I've got to do some more research and see what I'm missing, and then figure out if I can get a vehicle to put this in. Thanks for watching.